So we left off talking about private property takings clause, basically saying that if you have a piece of land or property, the government cannot just take it. They have to compensate you at fair market value. Some students ask, do you have to give it up at all? From the case law that I've read, if the government wants your property, most likely they will be able to get it. So the best thing you can do is to negotiate the best terms of that. But there have been cases where people did not have to sell and were able to keep their property. But again, that goes both ways. All right, remember to Mirandize. Miranda rights have to do with a case involving Arizona versus Ernesto Miranda, which happened back in the day. And this was someone that was not aware that he had the right to remain silent. He had the right to an attorney, yada, yada, yada. That is a scene from a movie. And just remember to Mirandize. I put that here because the Miranda rights are a combination of rights that are given to you from the Fifth and the Sixth Amendment. The Sixth Amendment, you have the right to a speedy public jury trial. The problem with calling it speedy public jury trial is that no one knows how long speedy is. So we're saying speedy, but is that, I don't know, a week? Is that a month? We don't really know. So sometimes people sit in jail a little bit longer than they should be because the language of that one is not very well articulated. Witnesses. You have the ability to confront witnesses. If someone's accusing you of something, you have the ability to present witnesses in your favor. This could be what we call an alibi, the person that is helping you prove your innocence. This could be anyone from your spouse, your parents, your friends, or a complete stranger that you were with that day, or someone that can testify that you did not do the crime. Now, when you hear in the Miranda rights, you have the right to attorney. If you cannot afford one will be appointed to you. That means you have the right to counsel, and you get what's called a public defender. Now, let's be honest, public defenders have a huge caseload, and they do not always offer the best representation. They're more likely to help you get a plea bargain or plea deal. All right, let's go to the Seventh Amendment. This is civil jury trial. This is dealing with anything involving property. If you are living with a person, this could be your roommate in college, and you guys both put in on the television, and they sell the TV 1 month because they want to pay bills. You cannot press criminal charges for that television. However, you can take them to civil court. Also, if it's common use, like say you bought the sofa, but they sold the sofa or they damaged it, you cannot, again, press criminal charges for that sofa because it's common property. It's in a common area. You can sue them civilly. Contracts. This could happen to do with any type of agreement, maybe to be a DJ for a wedding. This could be someone paid to have photos done for a book, and then it wasn't followed through on, but I paid a deposit. Well, that's not a criminal charge. They didn't actually run in your house. It's still just $700, but they did take $700 for service they didn't provide, and that will be a civil court case. You would have to sue them for it. Marriages, divorces, anything dealing with marriage, again, is civil. When you go through the divorce process, again, this is things that you would not press criminal charges unless we're talking about domestic violence. But even if your spouse destroyed property that you guys own together, that would be civil. Labor disputes is kind of self-explanatory, but if someone feels they owed something, and again, a breach of contract within an employer and someone else contracted, that would be a labor dispute, not an actual criminal act that goes under the civil jury trial. The Eighth Amendment. This has to do with excessive fines and bails. If you happen to steal, I don't know, I have this coffee mug, steal my coffee mug. I actually brought this coffee mug because my other coffee mug did come up missing last year. So someone steals this coffee mug. They should not have to go to jail for 2 years for stealing a coffee mug. This is a pretty simple thing, even though it's hard to come by, but it's not worth 2 years of jail time. It's not worth $100,000 bail. It should not be cruel and unusual punishment. The punishment should match the crime. As you see my lovely picture of the death chair, of the electric chair, and the death penalty falls under the Eighth Amendment. Some states think it is cruel and unusual. That's why they banned it. I'm pretty sure Texas is lighting someone up right now. Okay. The Ninth Amendment. It's really simple. Your individual rights are not enumerated. That means they're not numbered. Just because something doesn't exist right now does not mean you don't have that right tomorrow. All right, social media did not exist when the Constitution was written, but you have the right to use it as long as you're using it correctly. Now, this also includes all other rights not mentioned. Like, hey, we don't know all the rights that are going to exist. So we want to make sure you get those rights too. So it's kind of a catch-all. And the 10th Amendment kind of follows up with that. The 10th Amendment limits federal powers. It's basically saying we're going to put a cap. We're going to put a cap on federal power so they can never be that all-powerful government. It gives rights that are not mentioned to the states. So let's say these things, the Bill of Rights is the federal laws. Any rights that are not mentioned here are automatically bounced back to the state. This used to be the case for topics such as same-sex marriage, topics such as gun laws. All right, so gun laws outside of the Second Amendment go back to the state, and they determine how strict they want to be. Let's say marijuana for recreational usage, that goes back to the states. Now, each state is sovereign in its own way. That's why it's called the United States of America. You'll find that you have federal laws and state laws. Now, your state laws cannot contradict the federal laws. So they do have a state law. They can be more strict. They can address a topic not mentioned, but it cannot contradict the federal laws. And that is your first 10 amendments. If you want any more details, come see me. We have a lot more notes. And if you ever really want to, you can just read the U.S. Constitution.